All right, so we're going to start on section 8.3. The thing we're going to talk about is range, and you might want to take a notes on this so you'll have it. Range, mean, and median. Okay. Yes. Yes, get your... So the range is, you want to write this down, okay, and then I'll give you some examples. It's the difference, and when you're talking about difference, you're talking about subtraction. Okay, so it is the difference between the largest and smallest number. And those numbers come from the data, and you'll see. Okay? Mean, and these are in your dictionary in the back. Okay? So mean is just basically the average. And to find the average, you add all numbers up and divide by the number of numbers that you added. And I'm trying to figure out how to write that here. And I'll give you examples on that here as well. Median, think about when you're driving down the road, especially on 460, you have the center part, which is called the median, right? So would you call that the middle? Yeah. Easy. So the median is the middle value or the middle number. When you are finding the range, mean, and median, the very first thing you want to do is to list the numbers from least to greatest. Okay? Before you do any of the three, you want to list the numbers from least to greatest. Okay? Now, let me give you some examples, okay? Okay. Okay, so now let me just list some numbers up here at the top, and we're going to start from that, okay? So let me just give you a list of, and I'm going to go ahead and list them from least to greatest, okay, for you. But that way, well, no, let's don't. Let's say that we have 10, 7, 14, 3, and 13. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is list them from least to greatest. What is the smallest number here?
3.
Okay? It is 3, and then what?
7.
Then 7, then what?
10.
Then 10, then what?
13.
Then what?
14.
14. Okay. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the range. And to find the range, I'm going to find the largest number. What's the largest number?
14.
14, and I'm going to subtract what from 14? 3, and that makes my range what? 11.
Wait, what was the second?
You take the largest number and subtract you find the difference between the largest and the smallest number. Basically, you find the largest number and then you subtract. Okay?
The range, all you have to do is like get the biggest number and subtract it by the smallest.
Yep, just like I did right here.
Okay.
Okay? The mean is when you're going to add all those together. And I like to remember, isn't it mean that you have to add all the numbers together and then divide? That's always how I remembered it.
The formula for
Okay?
cylinder.
So 3 plus 7 plus 10, and really you want to list it the other way. 14 plus 13 plus 10 plus 7 plus 3. All right. So I already know if I have 7 plus 3, I have 10, plus 10 more is 20, plus 13 more is what?
33.
33, plus 14 more is what?
47. Hey,
47.
I was right.
How many numbers do I have?
5.
So now I'm going to divide 47 by 5.
No, you have the average.
You're finding the average, yes. So 5, you're not going to get an exact average here. 5 times 9 is 45, correct?
Yeah.
I'm going to have 2 left over.
Are we usually gonna have a remainder or no? Or you
Sometimes you will, and sometimes you'll have an average. In this case, you're going to have, what is your average going to be here?
9.4.
It's what?
9.4.
9.4, because you have to put your decimal there, right?
Hey.
So 9.4, or you can round it to the nearest whole number, which is 9. Either way, I will accept, okay? The median is the middle number. What number is in the middle?
The average?
No.
I mean,
List the numbers from, it's the middle number. I've already listed them from least to greatest. What number's in the middle? 10. That's your median. That's all you have to do for median.
Oh, so this looks like you're right.
Okay? So that's all you have to do for median. Now, look with me on page 312. Consider the two lists of data now. Notice that both lists have the same mean and median. However, list A has a much larger gap between the smallest and largest value than list B. Okay? So notice that. Everybody look at the median with me on page 312. So you have list A and you have list B. The mean is the same for both. The median is the same for both, but the range is different. The range for list A is 22. The range for list B is 6. Notice that. One way to prevent this misunderstanding is to use a method that includes both the median and range. The common group of measures used to describe data is a 5-number summary, which includes the minimum, the first quartile, median, and third quartile. And you'll understand that more here in just a few minutes. So the minimum is the smallest data value in the list, while the maximum is the largest data in the list. So look with me on page 313. Recall that the median is the middle value of the data value. So it's the middle number. The median splits the data into 2 halves. Would you agree? So this median splits the data in half. All right? So the first quartile is the median of the lower half of the data value. The third quartile, just follow with me. I know you're thinking, yeah, right, Miss Odell, what are you talking about? But I will get you there. So the third quartile or upper quartile is the median of the upper half of the data values, just like the word quarter. The term quartile comes from the Latin word fourth. So the 5th number summary breaks down into 4 areas. Now, look with me at A. It's in your book, but I want you to look with me. I'm going to list it up here. They've already have it in from least to greatest, okay? And then we're going to have list B. Okay, so list A, our numbers are 3, 8, 13, 15, 17, and 25. Okay? List B is 10, 12, 14, 14, 15, and 16. Everybody look at that, okay? It's important you follow along and you pay attention, okay? Now, how do we find the minimum? It's the smallest data value in the list, okay? So the minimum is what? Could you simply say it's the smallest number in the list? Okay, so it's the smallest number from the list. Okay? The maximum, you'll need to know these, M-A-X-I-M-U-M, pretty much is the largest data value or the largest number in the list. Okay, so in this case, what is the minimum?
For list A,
For list A,
3.
it is 3. List B,
10.
okay, everyone agree?
Yeah.
Okay, what is the maximum for list A?
25.
25, and the maximum for list B?
16.
Everybody understand that? Median. How do we find the median? Well, in this case, how many numbers do we have for list A? We have 6, so we don't have an exact number in the center, right?
Right.
So, to find the median, you have to find find the two middle numbers for list A, which are 13 and 15. Okay, so here we are finding I'm going to mark it out here. We're going to put median. Even though it's in the book, I feel that we need to see it. Say, for list A and list B. So how do we find the median? Well, we find the two middle numbers if we don't have an exact middle number. And what is our answer? 14. List B. What is our two center numbers? 14. Actually, they tell you that you can do this in one of two ways. You can add these two numbers and divide by 2, and you're going to get what? If you add 13 plus 15 back to list A, you would get what? 28 divided by 2 gives you 14. In this case, we have a number in between 13 and 15, but if you didn't, you would have to add those together. So I apologize I didn't elaborate on that. So list B, for the median, they tell you that you can add the two together and divide by 2. In this case, you're going to get the same thing. Okay, so you add the two middle numbers together and divide by 2. Yes?
We have the Hawaiian portion from 16. Is that
Huh?
that's a graph? What?
We are on page 313. Okay? Now, so we talked about minimum, maximum, and median. Now what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the third quartile. Or the third quarter if you want to, because basically that's what it is. How do we find the third quarter? Wait a minute, we didn't find the first quarter. Let's go back up here and find the first and the third quarter, okay? So first quarter, or quartile, and the third quartile. You got to know this stuff, okay? Bear with me. Now, first quartile. Go back over here to, or go back to the top of the page. The first quartile is the median of the lower half of the data value. And the third is the upper half. Now, so look at the first quartile. Think about this. So what is the lower half of the data value? I mean, it's done by quarter. What's the median of those two numbers? Or what's the median of, like, here's your numbers. 3, 8, 13, 15, 17, and 25. Okay? So we've divided them in half. What is the median
14.
in this one? The median of the first half. This is the first quarter, technically. What's the median? 8. Or what is, okay, yes, it's 8. Third quarter. What is the median of okay, yeah. What is the median? Let me look at these two numbers here. You have 10, 12, and 14. You have 14, 15, and 16. This is A, this is B. So what is the, and this is for A, and this is for B. So what is the first quarter for B? 12. All right. Now, let's talk about the third quarter. What is the third quarter for A? 17. What about for B? Yeah, well, actually, yeah. 17 for A and 15 for B. Everybody see that? You're looking at the third quarter, which is the second half, and you're looking for the middle number. And that's your third quarter numbers, okay? We've already found maximum. Now, let's look at box and whisker, okay? Box and whisker plots. This is, everybody look at page 13 there where it says although a 5-number summary is very helpful, a visual is what they're providing here, representation of the dispersion of the best way to see if the data values are closely clumped together or spread out. And you'll see why these are used a little later. So, a visual representation of the 5-number summary is the box and whisker plot. Or just sometimes you'll hear it called a box plot. So each plot has 5 key numbers as markers. Consider the following box plot representing the 5-number summary. Here's your numbers: 12, 25, 35, 45, and 60. Okay, now, I'm going to try to draw this, but it's, hey, I'll do my best. Just bear with me. Let's look at our data, okay? So, what is our median with this data? In other words, what number is in the very middle? Okay, so this, you would actually have these lines drawn up somewhat. Better yet, hold on. We're just going to deal with this. All right, so what is the median? And what is the median? It's the middle number. What number's in the middle?
35.
Number 35. So you're going to have a line here that is going to be your median. Okay? What is the minimum number?
10.
No, on these numbers. It's the smallest number. The minimum is the smallest number, which is 12. So you'll have a small line here. Okay? The largest number is 60, so you'll have a small line here, right? Then your chart's going to look like this. You're going to have a small here, and then you're going to have a box, right. You're going to have a medium number here, okay, which is going to represent your median. And then this is going to be the first, the third, the minimum, and the maximum, okay? Now, so what is the first quarter? In other words, in this case, what is the middle number between these three numbers? 25. Okay, what's the middle number between well, I'll come back to you, dude. Okay, so what's the middle number between these three numbers? 45. So we'll go over here to 45, draw a line. That is your box and whisker plot. Okay? Now, fortunately, on 1 through 6, everybody go over to 1 through 6. Page 315, okay? Everybody look at number 1, and here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly all right, you got those numbers? Okay, is this what you got? 170, 200, 240, 280, and 350.
Yep.
Okay, very good. Now, everybody do number 4, and then we'll go over the answers. Let's go over our answers here. Did you get 70 for the first number?
Yep.
88,
Yep.
92, 104, and 114.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, go ahead and do number 5, and then let's go over those answers. Okay, the answers for number 5 are 7, 29, 38, 51, and 68. How'd we do?
I did 6.
This is actually
I
kind
did
of
perfectly.
Okay, one last one here, number 6. Do number 6 on your own. Go over the answers to these. And your first number should be what? 25. Second number? 70. Third number?
85.
Fourth number?
95.
And lastly, the fifth number.
140.
Very good. Now let's flip over to the back page, 316. What the first number 7 should look like. Your first line should be on 14. You see that here?
Good to me. Ha ha ha.
Okay, your second line, which is your first quarter, should be right here on 26. Your median is on 30. Your second or third quarter is on 41. And your maximum is on 55. Okay, so I want to make sure you got that right before I let you loose to finish the others for homework.
I did do them.
All right, so you will notice that on LMS, there is an assignment to do another section. I'm going to hold off on that section until tomorrow. So I'll take that off of LMS so that you won't need to complete that. But you will need to finish 8 through 12 from page 316.